Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I'm continuing today my review of This Place Will Become Your Tomb by Sleep Token. I've done the first two songs already, so be sure to go check those out if you're interested. But I'm going to move on to the third song today. It's called Mine. We're going to have another visualizer that I'll be watching up here in the corner. Just give us something to look at while the song plays, and we'll see what their vision is for this visualizer as well. So we'll just go ahead and hop into it.
I have waited, paralyzed by my own will, viciously reminding me still I'm born to believe, and I am certain, no, that you and I are crashing course, driven by a holy force. I know you can see that you will be mine. Yeah, you will be mine.
All right. So, just like that, a minute of this song has gone by. And I think this really shows the strength of this band. Vessel's vocals being a huge draw, of course, because right off the bat, unlike the previous songs, we do have a melody or some kind of instrumental going on in the background. It's a very strange, kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like it's being played on a percussive instrument instead of like a guitar line. I don't know exactly what it is, if it's a synth or it's like a really heavily edited guitar. But either way, that's going on in the background for the most part, and we just get Vessel singing, and the melody is beautiful. And it's a full minute of it, and we go through what is the chorus, right? Very simple, you will be mine. We get the point of this song basically right out the gate, right off the bat. So I'll back up a little bit and let us get into kind of, I guess, the drop whenever everything else comes in. But I just think it's interesting you go a full minute completely absorbed in his vocals here. So we'll go right back into it.
Be mine. Regardless, fire in the earth we walk will never stop me reaching for to see you again.
So I'm going to stop for a second once again because it's very interesting. So far, we've heard all kinds of different voicings and instruments that are being used. Because, of course, we've got the very minimalist intro into this instrumental section between the first and second verse, right? And the instrumental section has kind of like this driving back and forth between guitars and like hitting a downbeat and then a melody on the synth over top of it. And because this song is in 3/4 or 6/8, however you want to think about it, right? It's in 1 2 3, 1 2 3. We're pulled kind of back and forth, especially with that like full out heavier part. You can kind of feel the back and forth between hitting that and then the melody, and you can kind of just get that feeling of it's almost like you're getting pulled into the song a little bit. And I think once again that's intentional, that pull, because I think that's a lot of what this song's about, right? which we'll get to the lyrics later, of course. But we've got, once again, to talk about the visualizer a little bit, we've got the theme here. We're still underwater. We've got jellyfish for some reason. We've seen kind of the seafloor. We've got, oh, yep, I wanted to mention this. This depth marker is back again, but it is deeper than it was before, which is interesting thematically. Once again, I think the theme is sinking here, but I'll back up a little bit. Verse 2, to kind of talk about a little bit. Now we've just got kind of a simple like guitar rhythm going on in the background. It's very different than the first verse. So the song, once again, is evolving. We have not heard the same instrumentation and the same thing twice, even though we're a minute and a half in. There's some really nice things building in the background here. We get us back to chorus. So this happens a lot in Sleep Token songs, and it's something that I bring up every time I hear it. We've got these vocal lines that are acting more as like the background instead of the focus. For example, in the chorus, he's just saying "you will be mine" over and over, right? But he uses that bass line to then do like a vocal solo on top of it, where he's just like saying the same thing, but he's adding some more flair. And we're going to see that again with this like part here, where we've got like really light vocals coming in, very disjointed, with a melody, a synth melody in the background. But I think it's super interesting because it almost replaces the instrumentation that would normally be there, but it's his voice, which of course I love. So this happened in Hypnosis as well in the previous song, with the you know you hypnotize me always, right? He uses that same repeated thing to build on top of it. The same thing's happening here in Mine. So it's very similar style of what's going on, presented a little bit differently, but I really like it. So I'm going to catch that transition one more time. Oops. Drummer's going nuts again. Did you hear what I'm saying? Like, he's like doing a solo vocal run over top of the same motif underneath. And here we've come full circle. We've got the intro little I don't even know what you like the really separate like picked um instrumental. We've got that motif of the really light vocals, and now he is soloing like the "You Will Be Mine" over top of it. All the motifs have condensed down at the very end, all at the same time, and they all work together, which is surprising. Um, so it kind of just wraps the song up really nicely, which I'll let it play out. But to back up one more section as well, we have the big. It's almost like the verse has now become the chorus with the way it's presented, right? So it's lyrics that we've already heard. But what is now going on is it's brought in the full like chorus implementation of all the instruments, and it brings new life to it. So it's not just here's the verse exactly as we've heard it. Not a single verse has been the same, which is a little bit out of character for this type of music, I would say. Usually we don't have that much evolution in the verses, but it's been completely redone here with the way that the instruments are coming in. It's just got a heavy guitar, but instead of the synth line being as we heard it before, it's kind of gained intensity as well. It's doing a lot more, and it kind of brings us to the end of the song so that we can do this fade out where we bring everything back together one more time. So I'll back up a little bit and we can hear that. So it fades out like many of their songs do, just letting us get all the way down, brings us completely out of the song. So this is a very emotionally pulling song, and I think the reason for that has to do a lot with the lyrics, which I'll get to here. This time I'm going to remember. Let me make it big for you guys so you can actually see it this time. So here I have the lyrics pulled up. Maybe make it a little bigger. This song, I feel like the songs from Atlantic to here have been getting more and more straightforward, but that doesn't really make them any less impactful, in my opinion, for the like emotional weight that they're supposed to hold. This song has a lot of imagery of, I guess, we've got this like wanting like holy force, and then like words like viciously and paralyzed. So like this, once again, it's this push and pull, I think, of just looking at some words, not even looking at the whole thing, right? We've got this ideal idea or ideal version of what's going on against this really heavy internal turmoil. And this as like a, I guess, a juxtaposed against hypnosis, or yeah, hypnosis, we've got an interesting, we still got this pulling going on, right? The lyrics that really get to me here are, I am certain that you and I are crashing course, driven by a holy force I know you can see. This takes whatever this, this longing, this romance, whatever you want to call it, it's elevating it to this kind of impossible level, right? And I'm sure that a lot of us can kind of understand how this happens. If you've ever been infatuated with someone, right? You can kind of elevate that person, and you feel like it just has to work out, right? There has to be something that's gonna work out, and there's this certainty, right? You will be mine. But there's also this bittersweetness to all of this. Once again, paralyzed by my own will, viciously reminding me still, I'm born to believe. Is this even something that Vessel wants to be pursuing at this point, right? It almost seems like, with Hypnosis being the previous song, he would rather not. Like it's something he has to do rather than something he wants to do. Um, with colors over all the wasted years, eternity will bring you near. It's like this far-sighted idea that this is inevitable. This is going to happen, right? That and just this repeated motif, you will be mine, right? It's very simple. Like you understand what's going on, and like I said with the 3/4, the 6/8 that's going on, it's this like pull, or at least that's how I feel it. Like I'm being pulled back and forth by the song, especially during that like really heavy part of the synth melody going on that we hear at the very start of the song. And then there's another kind of flavor added when we see this. Did you not say we were made for each other? That's the very light part that gets repeated. Um, this really makes it feel like this is kind of a lost love or something like that. Maybe this is not an equal engagement from both sides, right? So far, it really does give me the vibe that Vessel is wanting this to happen, and then whoever he's infatuated with is not as into it as he is. Now that might just be because we're seeing this from his perspective, right? However, all of this makes it seem like it's something it's done, it's gone, and he's just left here saying this has to be fixed. I have to do something. I can't be paralyzed, right? I'm constantly reminded, let me get back into this. Whatever it takes, if it takes eternity, this will happen. And that's kind of heartbreaking, right? Because without this context, this song really does feel just like a straight up love song. If you're not listening too carefully to the lyrics, which I think is kind of interesting, that it could be mistaken in that way. But it is kind of the most uplifting sounding song so far. So maybe there is some hope. And in the next few tracks, the rest of the album, maybe this will evolve into something different. And we'll see that as we go on. But this has been my analysis of this song. Once again, the visualizer is great. We're still in that motif. We are descending deeper, which might mean something. I guess we'll see as we go on. If there's some connection there. Even though this was like an uplifting track, it's interesting that our depth marker has decreased. So I'll see you in the next one when we go on to the fourth song, Like That.